Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. On this Monday edition, we have brand new artwork on set as our art exhibit series On Now continues in collaboration with the Art Society of Trinidad and Tobago. Joining us this morning is Jadon Matthews, our resident artist for the week, to share a little bit more about his journey and about some of the powerful pieces we have on display. Good morning, Jadon, and welcome.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, thanks, and yourself?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. So let's learn a little bit more about you. We can see from your work that you are a dedicated artist. But it's interesting because in your bio, one of the things you mentioned is even from early childhood, from the age of 5, you were inspired. What has the journey been like from then to now?
Well, it has been one of enjoyment, right? I could remember starting at the age of 5, growing up, being born in Mayaro and growing up in Guayagorari, to be exact. I remember seeing, my dad, he drew, animals. There was one time when he drew animals in the sun. He's not an artist per se, but just the fact that, he did those things with us, it gave me inspiration to see that you can actually create imagery from using an object. And I took it from there. Growing up, I always loved drawing people, right, and capturing the human face. I always thought that it was something special to capture above all other things, including landscape, seascapes, and everything else. I think being able to capture the human form and portraits was always special for me.
And we can see that how special it is to you, because some of the work that we have on set, you definitely can get that understanding, that feeling, that energy of passion, dedication, but also telling a story. And one of the things you would have mentioned also is that Leonardo Da Vinci is one of your inspirations. Was there anything in particular that gave you that, maybe gave you that aha moment to say, Leonardo Da Vinci, this is the one that I'm going to be inspired by?
Yes, well, Da Vinci, he is multifaceted. Right, and he does the science thing and all the other stuff, especially the science thing. And I've always, delved into science as well. I've always loved sciences. I even tried, creating stuff science-wise growing up. So that's why he is the one that I gravitated towards when we speak about inspiration.
Yeah. Now, speaking about inspiration, your personal story is very inspiring because after decades of public service, you decided to become a full-time artist. That's a big leap for anybody to take. What made you decide to take that leap, and what has the journey been like since then?
Well, you said decades, just one decade. I'm not that old.
Oh, apologies.
Right, no problem. So, well, I did not even expect to be in the public service for that long, right? 11 years to be exact. But you know how it goes. Sometimes, you have your passion and things just don't come together, for it to work. And I had to, live. So I was there for a while. And eventually, I started to get the inspiration, because having the skill is one thing. But getting the inspiration of what you want to do or what you want to present or express is another thing.
Yeah. Definitely is. And as you mentioned, inspiration, let's go into some of the pieces that we have on display. But before we get into that, this is from your exhibition or piece. It's called Off the Ships.
Yes. So I recently had an exhibition the last 2 weeks at Horizons Art Gallery. The theme of the exhibition was Off the Ships.
Okay. So let's start with this piece that is right behind me here. Walk us through the creation of this piece.
Okay, so this piece is titled The Laborer. It's a piece that depicts the indentured laborers. Okay, I just use one figure, but as we know in our history, we had the slaves that were here first before the indentured laborers, right? After after slavery was abolished, the masters, they wanted to have that continued force, right, workforce to continue it on the plantations, and they brought the indentured laborers here. Now, I wanted to depict this. As I said, the show was at Horizons, and it was a history, right? I was looking at the history and the evolution of our peoples.
Yeah. Okay. What medium did you use to create that piece?
This is charcoal on canvas.
Charcoal on canvas. And how long did this take? Because it's a big piece.
Right. So this would have taken about 4 days. Yeah.
And was it something that you did from memory, or was there a photo that you would have referenced?
Well, for most of my work, I use actual models,
Okay.
right, who I would, pose with, and I would use the props. I would get them to sit, and sometimes I use photographs, and we work from there.
This is interesting. All right, so let's go on to this next one here. This next piece that we have on set, it almost looks like a photograph, but of course it goes with the theme of the ships from the exhibition, but also looking at the East Indian indentured laborer. Was this somebody that a photo was taken of?
Well, we can say that she was almost off the ships in that her dad was an indentured laborer. So she's the last surviving offspring of an indentured laborer who was brought here on one of the ships.
Okay. And what mediums did you use for this? Because we're seeing, of course, some details and different colors.
Okay, so this is soft pastels, mainly soft pastels. There's also some charcoal in there as well.
And how long did this one take to create, considering the last one was only 4 days?
Well, this one took longer. As you can see, the details in it, it took, let's say, 3 times the time it took for this one. Yeah.
And moving on to this next piece that we have on the set, what is the name of this piece? And what inspired you? In fact, let's start with what inspired you to create it. Okay,
well, this is a very deep piece. It's on the African side of things. Title is The Caretaker. Well, we're going back to slavery with this one. We could see that this is an African lady who would have been one of the people that they would have had in the house, because as we know, the slaves, they were those that were on the outside in the fields, and then there were those who were in the house, right, doing work. And she, is a black lady, an African lady, and, the African woman, is a symbol of strength. And, the amount of things that they had to do, right, at the time, I wanted to bring everything together in this piece to depict that.
What inspired your choice? Because we see you have some scythe there. You also have like a fish also, and of course holding the baby.
Right.
So what inspired those different choices?
Okay, well, she was in the house. She's in the house. Remember, that's the time of slavery, and in the house, they would have to do everything. So they would have to take care of the kids, right? They would have to cook. They would have to clean.
And what mediums did you use for this one?
This is charcoal and soft pastels.
Charcoal and soft pastel. I'm seeing a theme here, because we're just seeing charcoal and soft pastels.
Yeah, so I'm a dry media specialist, and charcoal is my pet medium.
Okay, so let's go to the last piece that we have on set for the week. Again, thank you so much, Jadon, for loaning them to us. This, it definitely moves to a theme of, liberation in many ways, and going back to the earth. So journey us through this particular piece.
Okay, so as I said, the show was a depiction or expression of the evolution, right, of our peoples, and this is on the modern side. When everyone was all freed, and everyone had evolved. So this is a river scene of a lady. She's river washing, right? The title of it is Reverence. Now, my mom was from Tobago, and she told us a lot of stories of her days when her and her siblings growing up, they would go to the river to wash clothes and do their laundry and all that. And I always wanted to depict this as one of activity everyday activity that we do in the modern times.
Some beautiful work, so thank you so much for loading it for us. And
thank you.
The beauty of it is, well, we do see some pops of color, especially with the 3 pieces particularly. So it's wonderful to see the way you'll be able to blend everything together and almost bring it to life in so many ways. What would you say are some of your main inspirations when it comes to your art form?
Just human life, the soul of, humanity. Us living together as people, as God's creation, and being able to, express what we are supposed to be, what we are supposed to achieve, right? Our present condition, and where we are supposed to be heading, right? In terms of us living in love, right, and unity, not just in this country, but worldwide.
Jadon, let's just go back to the jump that you made, for want of a better expression, a decade in the public service, and then you went to become a full-time artist. What words of wisdom do you have for those who are thinking about taking that jump, but they're concerned and scared?
Right, so nice question. It could be done. You have to have the passion, first of all, right? If you don't have the passion, then you will go at it half-heartedly. Once you have the passion and the vision, go straight ahead, right? You will be able to do what's necessary with that passion. Research, you know, you would apply yourself 100%. If you don't have the passion, as I said, you will not really go forward with it to succeed.
And Jadon, how can we keep in touch with you? I know, of course, you don't just have exhibitions here, you also have exhibitions abroad. So how can we keep in touch with what's going on with Jadon Matthews?
Okay, so my social media, right? Studio Zano. You can get me at my social media. My studio is in St. Augustine, 69 Gordon Street in St. Augustine. So you can keep in contact with me there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And again, on behalf of all of us, and of course, everybody who's watching, thank you for loaning us your incredible artwork for the week.
And thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. Jadon Matthews, our resident artist for the week, right here on the Now Morning Show, as our collaboration with the Art Society of Trinidad and Tobago continues. Stay tuned. There's more coming up after this short break.
Remember the days of totes in water, anytime that you have to bid, or when people pass and they see